Hello and welcome back to the channel with no videos. So this is just a little update video that probably I can only imagine two people will see that I know that religiously watch my videos, which is Alan and Kelly. So this is an update as to why there are no videos on my channel. I'm not telling anyone else, I'll just tell you two, and I couldn't possibly do it in an email because I'd be talking all bloody day and I'm trying to stay away from my email inbox because it's full. I have previously on many occasions went on long rambles about my neighbour. There's another text. As if you do go to another shop for trousers and shirts, they will do deals in June. There you go. This is about school uniform. So I've had long rambles about my neighbour on video, and more often than not I've cut it out because she's the sort of person that would find it and use it against you, so I've always cut it out. I think maybe you think back to Maskgate when my neighbour's friend came down wearing, one child of the whole family was wearing a mask. My son was playing with them. That same evening, the child that was wearing a mask tested positive for COVID. You'll remember that.
This was mid-COVID lockdown.
This was August of, was it last year just gone? It was. And then they said that they had absolutely no idea that she had COVID. But she was tested for COVID a couple of hours after she was at that friend's house wearing a mask. She was the only person in the family wearing a mask. So our viewpoint was, why was she wearing a mask unless she had symptoms? And at the height of a COVID pandemic, you don't go out with symptoms. Anyway, long story short, both our neighbour and this child's mother both lied and said she wasn't wearing a mask. And it was only when I said, but Isaac told me that you were the one that told her, don't be so silly, take your mask off. Oh, well, yeah, and then, but basically, long story short, they were both caught in a massive lie. I said to the neighbour out of concern, because she says, I've got this wrong, I've got that wrong, I can't get a vaccination because it plays up with this and that. I've been hospitalised. My viewpoint was,
I want to be here for my children, so I can't risk getting the jab. That's what she said.
So my viewpoint was, someone that you're friends with has come to your house with your ill health, bringing a child with COVID symptoms. I didn't say that. What I said was, I think it's very irresponsible that she would bring a child that very clearly has COVID symptoms to your house with you being so ill. My neighbour went straight on the phone, phoned this woman and proceeded to blah, blah, blah. This woman proceeded to phone us and then the whole thing kicked off.
It was just a coincidence. It's 5 minutes after you said that the phone rang and it was the other woman.
So anyway, we haven't spoken to this other woman since. She's been absolutely horrible. There's a load of instances. I'm not going into it because that's nothing to do with this situation. But basically, long story short, she created trouble there on purpose. When she first moved in, she was in there a few days and one of the local kids nicked a basketball net that she had. I'm just giving you instances. I'm not going into the massive story. Darren knew who'd taken it because he'd seen them up the side of the house. He went to show her where the house was, but she was just new in the area. He was being really nice about it. He was saying to the person, this is Alicia, she's just moved in, blah, blah, blah. I saw your boys with it this afternoon.
She was making out she was socially feeble as well.
We've just found it on top of there. And she was like, and I want recompense, I want it. And
£200 you owe me for that.
She was stood behind Darren shouting this, and Darren's thinking, oh my God, we didn't know the woman at the time, we're just trying to be nice. So she created trouble there. That man has never spoken to Darren since, and they always chatted before. Then she stirred trouble with that parent, that parent that was at her house. Her kid's in Isaac's class. Her kid's also going to be in Isaac's year at secondary school. So she created trouble there. Then there was a scenario where her child, this is one I went on a massive rant about and deleted. Basically, last year, she's always said, oh, your Isaac's so good with my kids, he's so gentle. One of her kids is 4, the other's 7, maybe coming 8. The girl is 7 or 8, she is a little cow. You may think that's horrible. She is. The little boy's perfectly harmless. Basically, the little girl brought all of the kids in the house, whisper, whisper, whisper. They came outside 5 minutes later and they proceeded, she got her little brother to lie.
Well, they were all playing with Isaac and she took everybody in the house apart from Isaac and left him outside.
And the little boy came out and made up that Isaac had kicked him really hard between the legs on purpose. Now, this little boy cries for no reason. My son has kicked him really hard between the legs for no reason, and he hasn't told his mum, He hasn't cried. I know Isaac wouldn't do that, but people say, oh, you think you... I know my child would not do that. He's not that type of kid. As a matter of fact, he needs to be a bit tougher. He's not that type of kid. But she stuck to it. He stuck to it. All the kids were lying, all this. But we'd been watching them out the window, so we'd known it hadn't happened. They were on our trampoline as well. All these lies. And I saw red, and it takes a bit for me to see red. And I went out. Oh, well, I went to the doorstep, and I said, right. I says, why are you telling these lies about Isaac? I says, it's not on. I says, he didn't kick anyone between the legs. You need to stop lying. And then Darren went out.
I want him bread on the door.
No, that was afterwards. But Darren was shouting. No one... Well, he had a raised voice. They were lying, and he says, no, nothing of the sort happened because we've been watching out the window. Because when there's any children in our garden, on our trampoline, we monitor it to make sure everybody's safe. Which is true. And Darren's nosy. And
Curtain twitch.
Then she came out next door and started shouting and ranting and raving. Well, if my child says that's what happened, that's what happened. And Darren says, right. He says, you're telling me that Isaac has kicked Killian between the legs hard and he hasn't cried and he hasn't come and told you. He said, your Killian... I thought I was in the house. I thought, oh, God. Your Killian likes to cry. We've all heard Killian cry and scream.
The streets heard him cry over nothing.
Well, he didn't say that last bit. And he says, you're telling me my son's kicked him really hard between the legs and he hasn't cried, he hasn't sniffled, he hasn't come and told you. He says, absolute rubbish. She maintained that her kids were telling the truth. Darren says, right, he says, if that's the case and if that's what you think, it's probably best that the kids don't play physically together on the trampoline because clearly Isaac's a lot older than your children and someone's going to get hurt. Oh, no, well, I think that's a bit much. Now, if your child was being bullied and kicked between the leg by a boy...
You missed that part out. They went up and down the street telling other kids that Isaac was a bully.
Yeah, they went up and down the street shouting that Isaac... And at the time, Isaac was getting really badly bullied at school himself and psychologically was finding it difficult to deal with. I can only see half your face.
Well, half my face is half too much, to be honest.
So I'm trying to keep this short. A lot more was said, mostly by her. Darren put her in her place and basically said they're being dishonest. Eventually it came out that they'd made it up. And then the little girl goes, and this is exactly how... No, you do it. How she said...
But Mummy, I said I'm sorry.
She hadn't said she was sorry.
I said, excuse me. I said, no, you haven't. I said, you haven't apologised to anybody. Oh, well, if she says she's apologised, she has done.
In the same way that her son said that Isaac kicked him, he had done. Anyway, that happened. So... Isaac has it. He's played a little bit with Killian since, but I've bit my tongue. Darren's bit her tongue. We've basically not said very much of anything. You'll remember our neighbour across the way. Is that Josie again? Just got all the official paperwork in the post. You'll find out about that in another vlog.
I can do with some sellotape while I'm sat here so I can stick...
I'm really condensing this, guys. It's so long-winded. When this woman first moved in, I may have said this in a vlog, I might not have, because I cut so much out. We were approached by a mother of a child in Isaac's year that Darren knows quite well, by numerous other people, including our neighbour's cousin.
4 different individuals.
Who told us, don't even speak to that woman. She's bad news. She will create trouble where there isn't any. She phones and reports people to social services, child services, police. And council. She reported her own cousin to social services.
She banned her own cousin's 9-year-old son from entering the street because she thought he didn't deserve to play down there. So the mother, her cousin, approached us and said, can I just ask, is it okay if, I can't remember the wee lad's name, if it's Shay. Is it okay if Shay plays in, you know, it's a wee cul-de-sac? Is it okay if you... Darren's like, yeah, why would it not be alright? Oh, well, Alicia's banned him. I said it's a public street. I said he's fine, play where he wants. So she basically is the type of person that invited all the kids into the house and said to her own, it would be her nephew, or like maybe saying, you're not coming in. Yeah. He's 9. Left him outside. So, it's a very long story short, the woman is hideous. I've tried to, and Kelly, you know me very well, how difficult it is for me to be nice. Hundreds of bits and pieces, right down to every time she walks past the house, she glares. And it sounds nothing, it sounds petted, but you end up thinking... Awful. Why is she glaring? We were warned. We said to the people that warned us, right, thanks for the warning, but I tend to like to take people as I find them. I will judge a person myself, but I was always on my guard.
but I like to take as I find. Neighbour across our way had a chimney fire last year. You'll have seen it in my vlog. Darren spotted it, ran across. The kids in the house. Woman's name's Bridget. Bridget, you've a chimney fire. Blah blah. There's sparks coming out.
Well, it was bloody flames coming out.
As he was on his way back over to the, because we live right opposite this woman. Yeah. As he was on his way back over to the house, she scuttled out Alicia. She doesn't deserve a nice name. She's a bitch. I'm sorry. She scuttled out past Darren. What? You've been and told her already? Well, I was going to do that. Really angry that Darren had been and told this woman that she had a house fire before she got to her first.
And then she went to bang on the door to tell him again. So
anyway, recently, Isaac has spotted her hiding when she's seen us come out of the house, which is great because it means I don't have to speak to her. There's been clear animosity in the air, but nothing's been said. Nothing, and like quiet life, I don't want to say anything.
Well, it's like you drive in the cul-de-sac and she'll be in Bridget's garden talking to Bridget.
She'll turn her back.
Bridget will wave and greet you. Alicia turns her back to the car and keeps it turned for the whole way around as the car's going past, which is, it's a really blatant two fingers up every time you go past.
Which I like, because it means I don't. And I was perfectly happy to keep it like that.
You speak to the other girl with a baby.
Yeah.
And the moment you step away from her, she literally, even though she's apparently disabled, sprints across the road with her back to you, not saying anything, and then she'll have this whispery conversation.
She doesn't like when we speak to neighbours or have conversation or get along with them, because she feels that she's the one that has to be everyone's best friend, and she wants to ostracise us. That's what she does to people, which is hilarious because all of our neighbours get along with us. So anyway, that's the background. This is what happened 2 days ago. I haven't spoke to Alicia in months. As I said, there's been animosity that's been unspoken for quite some time. We just haven't acknowledged one another. And I got a text that said, Lisa, I am going to put this in the kindest way possible. I would appreciate if you wouldn't use my driveway to bring in your bins, because I'm worried the wind might blow them over and damage my car. And I'm going to put a picture in of the driveway and the situation, and it might be in the corner while I'm talking. In order for us to we have like a pathway up the side of our house that leads to our back gate, which has our electric top-up box on the outside, which is where the bins are stored and where they always have been stored. There's never been an issue. She's been living there 18 months. She has basically said that we are banned from stepping 3 steps. We have a fence that encloses our garden. I'll try to put a picture up.
It encloses the lawn.
It encloses the lawn. The council put it up for us. In order for us to get to our pathway down the side of the house, we must walk around the fence like every other neighbour has to that has the shared driveway. Everyone has to do it and nobody has an issue. She has developed an issue where she has contacted her landlord and told him she is very upset that we keep walking up and down her driveway.
T word. Trespassing.
Yeah.
We're trespassing.
Which we've been doing for 18 months, which there's never been an issue. And the trespass is once a week to bring our bins out and once a week to bring our bins in.
So she also stuck a sign up especially for us.
So about 6 weeks ago, we noticed that every Monday night, the night before the bins went out, or the night the bins went out, she would park her car. Darren has a picture, I will include it. She would park her car deliberately in a diagonal line, so that one half was almost touching her fence, the other half was almost touching ours, so that we couldn't even walk up the side. You will note her concern about the bins. Her bins right beside it. Our bins were nowhere near it. We're not allowed to walk around with our lawnmower to cut the grass at the side or the back, which means she wants us to bring our lawnmower through our house. If the oil man comes to deliver oil, I don't know how he's going to do it without walking on the driveway. Darren went over and asked Bridget about her situation because she has the same setup.
Exactly the same fences.
And she's like, she done what? She said what? Now this woman wouldn't say a bad word about anyone. She's Christian. She's very good living. And she's like, I don't understand, but what have you done to upset her? And Darren goes, this came out of the blue.
I told her last time I spoke to her was the chimney incident.
The chimney situation.
She did what?
She basically sent me 2 snotty-arsed messages saying, yes, you do have the right. You do have a pathway up the side that you can put your bins on and you can get to your gate. But to get to that, those steps that you take round the fence, 3-4 steps, is trespassing on my driveway. My reply
the thing is, though, she can't see from her house when we take those 3 steps. The only way she knows we may have stepped on there is because our bin's out ready for collection Other than that, she had no idea.
Can I add, the length of the driveway is approximately 4 car lengths. So everyone else parks at the top of their driveway. She must park at the narrowest point between 2 fences.
Only on a Monday night.
Just to obstruct us. We knew that's what she was doing. So thankfully, the day before she sent that text, we had contacted our housing agency and asked what our rights were. And they had said, right, strictly speaking legally, let's forget being neighbourly. Strictly speaking, legally, she has a right to ask you not to step on it. So what we'll do is, the gate that your fence you have surrounding your house that has the gate at the end of the drive, like anyone's would have, we'll put a second gate on the back of your fence so that you can come out of your house and use a gate to get up, and then you'll not have to take those 3 to 4 steps on her driveway. Then you just won't have to deal with her.
You go through one gate, you walk 7 feet and go through a second gate to get to where you want to be.
So our housing agency agreed that she was being preposterous. She said, why has this not been an issue before? Alicia said in her text, well, if you had have got your fence extended the whole way down the side of the house to the back gate, there wouldn't be an issue with taking your bins in, would there? When we got our fence put up, she complimented it and said how nice it was and how good a job it was.
It is. It's a really nice job.
At no stage did she say, but how are you going to get your bins in? You'll have to walk on my driveway. There's never been an issue. Nobody's ever said boo. Never been an issue until, basically because we haven't spoken to her in months, she's decided.
She never complained when I brought her bin back for her. She never complained when I restood her bin up for her.
We've done nothing but be nice, be courteous. I've bought her presents. I've bought her kids things. And
brought the kids in to watch films. We like cinema treats.
You name it. I've done it. And she sent these messages. Yes, you do have to ask. That's what she said. You did not seek mine or my landlord's permission. So I'm supposed to, on bin day, go and knock her door and say, Alicia, would you mind ever so much if I wheeled my bin out those 3 steps and back? Fuck that. Mm-hmm. So I said, right, give me your landlord's number and we'll ask permission.
I still say you should let me go take a shit in the middle of the driveway. Darren
asked for, the landlord eventually called back the next day, and you could tell he'd had it in the ear from her, and the situation was discussed. Apparently, the way she put it to him is we'd been traipsing up and down the driveway for no reason.
She's very upset.
Darren explained, oh, right, I see. Well, that's what's upsetting her then. She's very upset about the whole thing. Darren says, you what? And he basically more or less said, without saying it, well, if it was me, I would have no issue. It's stupid, it's silly, but she's my tenant and I have to keep her happy, is what he said. And he says the best thing to do is, if your agency is saying they'll put a gate on, then that's probably the best course of action. Then you won't have to deal with her.
You don't have to talk to her.
So he has said, just don't talk to her. Or Housing Association has said, don't have any interaction with her. Everyone that warned us at the start said, do not have any interaction with this woman. She will cause drama where there is none.
And had a good laugh, now it's kicking off.
Yeah, and he spoke to the woman that warned him, the first one that warned him, and she's laughing at all. She's like, oh, well, that's no surprise.
I did tell you.
But now I'm waiting on... She's been known, like I said, she reported her own family to child services for no reason. She reports people to councils, police. She was in the house about 2 weeks when the police showed up.
Who called the police, or what she said?
She said that her previous neighbour at her previous address had basically verbally and physically assaulted her in the shop.
So she'd called the police to give her like a statement.
But she hadn't taken her phone with her to the shop. She'd waited till she'd got home to call the police. What mother goes out with her kids without her phone? Anyway, the story didn't make sense at the time, but I didn't overly look at it. I thought, that sounds really odd. But looking back, what's probably happened is she's went and done something, and the neighbours called the police on her. I remember when she moved in telling us about her horrible neighbour that called her daughter a little bee. And I was really shocked at the time that someone could call a kid. Now I'm not surprised, because she's just like her mother.
Oh, she's awful. Which is a bad thing to say, but she's truly
She
awful.
also complained at her neighbours had the audacity to put up CCTV. What have we done? Oh, that's so I can have some good news about this. So anyway, we currently are living with a neighbour from hell. I am having to be super careful everything I do, everything I say, nothing can be misconstrued. As people that are watching this, a couple of people that are watching this, because nobody will ever see this other than Kelly and Alan. No one. I have fibromyalgia, as you both know. I have a condition. I can't work because of it, and I get benefit because of it. She's going to start trying to photograph and video me and send it. and try and get that taken. I know she is.
Yeah,
so
a couple of days when you happen to be standing outside rather than
she will try and do that, and I'm waiting on her trying doing it because she's that kind of person. So now every time I go out of the house, I'm worried that I'm going to be filmed. I'm like, well, the other thing now that's concerning me is we have 2 dogs, and our tenancy agreement says we should only have 1 dog. Darren and Isaac nagged me for a year solid, and I says, but what if, it'll be fine, it'll be fine, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. Now we've got 2 dogs, all she has to do is report that and we could get one taken off us.
Not Dobby Baba.
Exactly. When they go out, they bark for about 2 seconds to warn off cats, because we have cats in our garden. When they go out at night, they do it. When they go out in the morning, they do it. It's maybe 2 seconds. But I'm waiting on her recording that and putting it all together and saying our dogs are always barking.
Because her dogs never get walked, and they're always shut out in the night, even after midnight, and they just
apparently it's not. I already googled that. Apparently it's not.
No, I'm on about the barking though. Hers bark all the time when they're out.
People don't have to walk their dogs, apparently.
I know they don't, but it's just ridiculous. The fact that hers are always out. She can't complain about ours because hers do nothing but bark.
Yeah, but she's complained about taking 3 steps in a driveway. So anyway, we're waiting on what's next. I haven't properly eaten a proper meal in 3 days because I'm that stressed. My head's banging. I've got the situation, my dad's still not well, obviously my mum to contend with. Isaac's school placement coming. There's just so much stuff happening right now, and this. And every time I go in the house, there they are, or out of the house, I'm stressed. I can't get rid of this headache, but
right, it's coming out.
I'll tell you. It's alright, you can bring him in. I don't care if I'm talking about it, he knows. So, as I said, I have CCTV. The reason we have it is because this woman lies about everything. Yesterday morning, the recycle bins, the men came to lift the recycle bins, and as yours probably is the same as ours, a really big, long, like, truck, and it came. And Darren heard this big like crunch. Now what he thought had happened was that they had, you know, sometimes when something hits the small recycle bin and drags it along the concrete, it makes a really loud noise. He thought that had happened, and he ignored it because it wasn't ours. He could see ours out the window. So he ignored it, and he went out later that day to walk the dogs. And as he went out to walk the dogs, he noticed her fence had been damaged. I will insert a photograph. And he's like, oh my god, the recycle bin was here, the recycle truck was here this morning. I bet they've hit her fence. I thought it was the bins that they'd hit. I bet that's what it is. So he went out and walked the dogs. Meanwhile, our CCTV stores for a period of time, so I went back to find. Took me ages.
Well, let everyone go eyes, I think, get changed.
Yeah. So I went back and I found it, and I'm going to insert the footage for you guys. Me and Darren, honestly, I so badly needed a cheer up yesterday. And that's what happened. Now you may think, oh Lisa, you're a nasty cow.
Oh.
I have never, ever, and I'm always saying I'm unlucky, and people say, you're not unlucky, you've got, you know, you've got a child, you've a happy marriage, you're not, you know, and yeah, I've got those things.
All this.
But
I don't think that's lucky, but
but I do tend to have hideous luck when it comes to health and just silly situations. It's like, if I go into hospital for an operation, it will invariably go wrong. When I went in to give birth, it will I've got bad luck. But I've never seen karma work so gloriously in all my life. It's like, I'm stressed, I'm fed up, I still have a headache 3 days later, I'm still not eating properly, but my God, that made me laugh. And she came back, and she was stood outside. Oh God, oh, and she was swearing and all the rest of it. The only house she didn't come to ask what had happened was ours, and we're the only house that has CCTV, and we have it on CCTV, and I've downloaded it and saved it, as you will have seen.
Did you tell them about what she was saying about the bins?
Isaac pointed out it's really funny that she was going on about bins and now the bin lorry has wrecked her fence.
Bins and how our fence shouldn't be like that, and then the bins come and demolished it.
So the issues with the fence and the bins ended with the bin lorry going into her fence. Now, we know absolutely positively that she will be telling people she thinks we've done that because there were words the day before. And we haven't done it, and we wouldn't do that. We wouldn't. All we want is to be left alone. All we want is to not have to interact with this woman, because we know that any ongoing relationship, something else will happen in a few months, and something else and something else. That's just the type of person she is. So I'd rather just pretend she's not there and have her pretend I'm not there, and I'm perfectly happy because we get on really well with everyone else. But she went across the way to a woman that's had a baby in the last year that has so much on her plate and started gurning at her. I could hear her. Then she'll have been over to Bridget when we weren't in.
She went to somebody else further down as well. We don't know which house it was.
She'll ask everyone. She hasn't asked us. I heard her daughter say through the camera, because it's got sound. The daughters, they came back from school and I heard her shouting, well, would the camera not have picked it up? Now, I don't know if she means our camera or whether she means they've got a camera. I have no idea. But we've got that nice piece of footage saved anyway, and I'm actually really hoping she says to anyone that we did it, because...
I was hoping the police were going to come knocking on the door, but they didn't. And she didn't even come knocking on the door.
No, we were...
I had my speech ready.
Tara was going to tell her she was trespassing to close the gate behind her.
I have no desire to converse with you on my property, which you have not been invited. Therefore, you are trespassing. Please leave my property this instant and close the gate behind you.
That's what it was. But anyway, the only thing I said to her when I got these messages about not using her driveway and I haven't sought permission, I'd said, well, the bins have always been there. Even the previous owner had the bins there. There's never been an issue. I wasn't aware we needed to seek permission. That's our right of way to get to the gate and the electric box. She came back with, yes, it is your right. It is your driveway, but it's not your right away. She's that stupid. She doesn't know the expression right of way. It is your right. It isn't your right away to walk on my driveway. Legally speaking, she's right. Neighbourly speaking, she's been an arse.
But did you put in the piece that flipped her to make her angry? Because she'd been doing the blocking for months, and this week was really bad, so we couldn't get the bin back in, so we put the bin back over the fence.
We lifted it over the
fence,
and
it was only when the bin had been put back that she then sent the message complaining. So she was quite happy for months just to have us blocked off.
Yeah,
but my God, they've managed to get the bin back.
So after her sending it, yes, you must seek my permission. My last words were, please do not contact me again. Give me your landlord's number and I will seek permission. I got accused of being extremely nasty because I told her not to contact me.
She's been nothing but nice to our family.
She said, I don't understand why you're being so nasty. I've been nothing but nice to you and your family.
Sure.
I wrote, I disagree. She wrote, please explain. And I wrote, I think it's best we don't interact from this point. Then I blocked her number, so she won't be able to contact me. I've blocked her email, I've blocked her on Facebook. I know if she finds my YouTube videos, she's got no husband because she scared him away as well. She coached her son to say that he was hitting her. That's another, when we had the bouncy castle, I cut this out too. Her son, who has no more sense, he's a nice little lad. They were taught, she was having a go about her ex-husband as usual and how he was a narcissist and he was abusive. And Killian stutters because he's really little. Yes, and I have to say, when my daddy hits me, and she was going, like, she has coached this little lad what to say, and he is that naive as a child that he's saying in front of us what she has coached him to tell other people.
You'll probably believe it's happening because she's telling it.
But the father of the children was at the older girl's confirmation. It's a Catholic thing, or confession thing. If you had a husband that was abusive and had beat your kids,
violent, abusive husband,
you would have, well, that woman would definitely have a restraining order. You wouldn't let him near your kids, but yet he'd
come back into this area and had a happy day with photographs taken at his daughter's conference.
Photographs. The only reason I know that is because it was on the school website. She didn't put them up on her profile because she had already spent so long bitching on Facebook about her ex and what a horrible person he was, that she didn't tell anyone that he was at but I saw the pictures on the school website. But was that it? So basically, I know that she's got no life. She sits in that house trying to think of what she can do. And I honestly, I'm not exaggerating it. She sits in that house. Right, that's my dad. Why is my dad phoning? Right, I'm gonna have to cut this off. Sorry about that. That was my mum phoning about to find something out. So yeah, I will end it there. I just wanted to. I couldn't possibly write an email that long, Kelly, because my head's banging, and I wanted to tell you what was going on. So I will send you an email with the link. And Alan, I'll probably send you an Instagram. It's just because I know you two are two of the few people that actually watch all the videos, so I thought I'd let you know. So a load of stuff going on. My dad hasn't been. There's just loads of stuff, but that's just been the cherry on the cake. So I'm just taking a bit of a break at the minute because just so many people email you, and then I reply, and then they email right back, and it's just constant emails, and I don't, Alan, you'll sympathise, I don't have time. Having a YouTube channel and trying to read comments and reply to comments and comment on other people's stuff because you feel it's rude if you don't, and there's certain people's videos I always watch because I enjoy to watch, and then there's people's videos you almost feel obliged to watch because they watch yours, and it's, you know, you make like friendships and people you feel you can talk more to, which why I'm obviously doing this video, but so anyway, the reason for the channel's been taken down is because I know she will do anything she can do and gather any information she can in order to in some way complain about me. And I can't remember what I've said in previous vlogs. I don't remember if I know I've talked about that mask thing. I know I have. I don't think I've spoke about any of the other things, but obviously I don't have time to sit and listen to myself waffle for months to hear what I've said. So until this blows over and she gets fed up and someone else is in the firing line, I've just decided to keep everything. You see, those vlogs are mainly for me anyway, for us to keep. And I know Kelly likes to sort of like keep up to date. You know, we don't see each other, so it's nice to see what we're doing. Well, maybe it's not. Maybe I'm just assuming it is. But that's why I do them. So, yeah, from henceforth they shall be private. The main channel, I may start to make public again in a few weeks. I don't know, but my channel's never been about growing numbers or anything. I'm not bothered about how, I mean, I am monetized, meaning if you get 1,000 subscribers you can monetize and put adverts on, but I very rarely put adverts on. The only ones I did was true crime videos, but then they all got demonetized because the subject matter was too sensitive, so there's just no point. But it's a community of people, like some of the people I know and have not physically met, got to know, feel like friends, you know, like the Cinema Squad and people like that, and Jamie Powell and stuff. And I want to hear what's happening with Jules, and you know, there's people that you care what's going on, you know what I mean? So I don't want to lose that side of things, but I need a bit of a break from everything at the minute. But I wanted to tell you guys what it was, because I didn't want you thinking there was something massively, you know, awfully terrible. It's a pain in the arse and it's stressful, but life's not ending or anything, you know what I mean? So I wanted to let you know what was up. So I'll probably get this up this weekend and then send you the link and you'll know what the crack is. Thank you for listening, if you have, to me rambling for half an hour. But if I was to go into all the detail of all the instances, I'd be here for a fortnight. It's that bad.
It's just so pathetic, the whole thing, what she's doing. It's just
we have to live next door to her.
Irritating. It's just water torture.
So we can't, at the minute, mow the back grass. We can't mow the grass. This is another going to be an issue. That little bit up the side, I'm actually, when she's out, I'm going to get you to take a picture of that so that we can put it in so they can see it.
Well, look, there's that one from back gate with the car where our bins go with the dots.
Right, well you can see, and I can show you what's hers and what's ours. There's a bit of grass that runs up the side, and the end of that grass is where our bit ends and hers begins. But that's our responsibility to mow that. We can't get the lawnmower to it unless we take it through the house, because we would have to put it round the corner. And also, when we mow it, what happens to the grass particles that goes on her side? Is she going to complain that there's grass? Because he can't stand there to brush them off, because he'd be trespassing. So this is how silly it is. This is how ridiculous it is.
Oh, so I can't go out and brush it all up on her driveway because I'd be breaking the law in her eyes. I'll have to leave it.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Any that went on her side, you'd have to leave because
Oh
you're trespassing.
no, I'd hate that. I love brushing up grass.
But she'll
bits.
probably say, we've done it like that on purpose to annoy her. She absolutely would.
Yeah, I made the grass grow because I just love mowing the lawn.
He doesn't like mowing the lawn. So our back garden is currently like a jungle, and the side of the house has got really long, and when the guys come to put the gate on, we don't know when that's going to happen, but when they do come to put the gate on, they're going to think lazy cut. But you're going to tell them in a loud voice, apologies that, you know, that we haven't been able to cut that because we haven't been able to get the lawnmower to it, and I'm not bringing it through the house to damage the floors.
I'm also going to announce in a loud voice, don't worry guys, you do have permission to be standing there. Because they're going to have to stand on the driveway while they alter the fence.
We got permission from her landlord for the guys to come.
That's how pathetic it is. I asked him for permission.
And breathe.
To stand on the opposite side of a gate. Can we please stand there? Can we have permission to stand on that piece of tarmac, please?
I couldn't talk to you yesterday, and I couldn't talk to you
the day
before because I can't even tell it. It's been a long time. It's actually... Kelly's maybe seen me cross through situations with previous people, or she's heard me rant, so you'll know when I get angry. It's been so long. There's a level of anger that you reach that you can't physically show it. You know what I mean? When it gets beyond shouting to the point where you just can't cope with it, and you just have
candy on her.
I'm at the minute. I'm just really irritated that I have to even see her face. That's how I feel about it. There's a show on TV called The Truth. There's something about Pam. It's got Renée Zellweger in it. I spoke about it a couple of weeks ago in my what I put a picture in. And it's a true story of a woman that commits a crime. That's exactly what she looks like. Renée Zellweger done up. As a matter of fact, she's not that attractive. But Darren keeps posting pictures of this woman on my Facebook for badness. So if you've seen pictures of that with me tagged in it, that's why. Other people think it's a joke because she's got her hair cut like mine, and they think Darren's poking fun at my hairdo. It's not, it's her. Oh God.
Deluded narcissist.
Right, I'm going now. I've told you the crowd, you know what's going on. What I'm going to do with my channel is I'm going to put the links in Instagram each week to any video I put up for the next, might be a few months, I don't know how long it's going to be, but basically I've had to lock down everything, any sort of online presence, because I don't want her to have access. So Darren's had to block her, I've blocked her, she's been blocked, I've blocked her email address, I've blocked her from WhatsApp texts, I have shut down everything public on YouTube. So to my knowledge, she has no, other than putting something through my front door, and she'd have to trespass to do that, she can't contact me. So
what about your TikTok dancing?
I don't have. I've got.
You don't have a TikTok
I signed
dance?
up. I signed up to TikTok. I don't have any videos. It was just so I could watch other people's.
Oh.
But I haven't. I don't think I've ever actually sat and watched videos on TikTok. Becky sent me something, and I couldn't see it because I wasn't on. So I signed up to it, but I have no videos. Right, I am going now. I shall try and do my vlogs as usual. Please do not feel any obligation to watch them just because I send you a link. I'm just doing it in case you want to watch them, so please don't feel obliged to do it.
You are the apple of my eye.
Thank you for watching, guys. Speak to you later.